Well, another project has followed me home. This is a Fairbanks Morse 7.5 horsepower engine. It has a bore of 5 3/4 inches by a stroke of 8, and this one is really lovely with a clutch pulley. So it freewheels until you pull this, and then it locks up and engages your implement that you're running. So it hasn't run in years, I'd guess at least 10. And the last time it was run, they used a belt pulley off of a tractor to spin it really fast to get it running. So I know it has low compression, but it's not seized, and everything's here. The only flaw really is that the fuel line was cut, disconnected to the tank. The tank probably shot the bed, but we'll see. First order of business is to get that god-awful Volvo hubcap, muffler, whatever's going on there, out of here. I would prefer a straight pipe than whatever that is. So that'll be out of here. I have the crank for it on the other side. It has the oiler, drip oiler, that'll just need a cleaning. Everywhere we'll get a shot of oil, but it's all here, so it's a great start, and we'll try to get it running. So here's the brass nameplate, the plaque. It says 7.5 horsepower, big Z, 550 RPM. So these engines are governed to 550 RPM, but you can adjust. There's a little wheel I'll show you on the governor that you can adjust to slow them down a little bit. This one had an unfortunate event at some point in its life where water was probably left in it over the winter. It froze, it cracked the head, and there are 4 spots that I can see it's been nickel welded. Also, the spring and the travel of the intake valve is less than other engines I've seen, so we'll have to address that. Other than that, I guess that's kind of hard to actuate, but it's all free. It says made in the United States of America, patents pending, Fairbanks Morse. That makes me think it was plaqued for export. Serial number on all the Z series is on top, on the water-cooled ones at least, on top of the hopper in the front. Going by this one, you can run it. The database is available online. This is made in 1929. So for most of the life of the Fairbanks Zs, they made 1.5, 3, and 6 horse. And I think there's another one I'm missing there. But the 7.5 only came about in 27, 28, if I understand right. So let's get this freaking blinding piece out of the way. Whew. Oh, that slipped the wrench. Whoa, might need heat. Oh yeah, that's tight. Yeah, I'm just wrecking that, so maybe the angle grinder. Oh, there we go. Nice. Ah, there we go. Okay, so the exhaust is normally in the head here, it's threaded for 2-inch pipe, but I don't think that's going to come out, so we'll just leave that, and I'll have to clamp one on, maybe a flex tube to a straight pipe in the future. Okay, so now that that's out, we'll have a look at the spark plug. This is an original Champion plug. These are 1/2 inch taper thread, pipe thread plugs. They're still available. You can get them at Napa. They're still $5 or whatever. This is an early one though, with the multi-piece construction that lets you disassemble it and change the insulator if you need. Okay. Oof, very, very close contact, but that should work. Whoops. Someone put an aluminum cap on the end. Should have a little brass retaining nut. This is a Canadian made plug. No problem with that. Intake valve is free. I'll run it over a little bit. We'll see if the exhaust valve is free yet. Springs back fine. Okay, well, so I have to check the mag next. How am I feeling? Feeling adventurous? Yes. Oh. I did not jump. I should have jumped. Well, that means I gotta take a look at the mag. Okay, so you can see I put the oiler in place. The only flaw with it seems to be fine. The only flaw is that the small sight glass on the bottom is exploded. It's not there. So I think I have sight glass that can be cut to that. So right now I'm going to take the good old spray oil, blast a whole bunch of different points all over the place, and I figured we could take the crank guard off and see how much slop there is in the crankshaft, just for fun. This is a really simple crank guard on these. It's just made of tin. There, make sure I don't lose the square nut on the inside. Okay. Well, got a little bit of side play, that's not too bad. Really don't have that much slop. I can see it moves a little bit here, and it looks like there's a pretty thick, a really thick shim. So that should be fine. Pull the cotter pins out on the end cap and tighten it a little bit. There might be some wrist pin play, but this end cap here is not as bad as I was expecting. That's good. Grease cup not seized. That one's fine. This one's fine. Wow, not too bad. I think the biggest issue is going to be the mag. It'll have to come off and get some tinkering. So the mag's definitely going to be our limiting factor. So I just went on here with a generously sized screwdriver, cranked the standard screws on either side, and away she comes. So just grab the plug wire and lift it right off and out of the way. Look at how nice and fresh it is under there. Anyway, mosquitoes are crazy. We'll get this into the shop and have a look. Okay, so good news. Just as soon as I took this thing off, brought it into the shop, I realized that something wasn't engaging before. It seems that this little trip coupling right there was stuck or something, and with a little bit of oil and play, it's now freed up. So I put my finger in the cap again, as you saw me do before, and holy jeez, I nearly soiled my trousers. That was a shock. So now that it's off, it's out of time. So I looked here, right here by my thumb. You see those two marks? Those two marks on the tooth line up with, where are we? This one mark in the valley. So I'll put that back on so that it's timed right. And see if there's spark coming to the plug. Okay, now it's getting close to dark, but we're really close. So I just lined up the 2 and the 1 dots for the gears. I'm going to crank it and I'll show you it fires just after what would be top dead center. So you can see when the crank is square in line, that would be top dead center, and a little bit after is when it'll fire, so that I know it's going to be going forward and won't kick back on me. Right there, that's perfect. So I'll move you over here and you can watch the spark plug. Okay, there's the plug. Angle it a little bit there. Okay, see that bright blue spark? Really strong. Pow, there it goes again. Now you can just imagine that pulsing from your finger all the way to your sphincter. Not so fun, but it's great news that we have it. So that plug's going to go back in, and I think I'm going to throw a little bit of gas right into the cylinder, and we'll put some down in the tank down there. Originally this tank would be your gas tank. You run it until that's dry, heat the engine up, and then open up your dial on the other side that would go to your kerosene tank. At the time, kerosene was cheaper to run. It's the opposite now, so we just run gas all the time. But I'll put some gas in here. This is the valve on the side here to adjust the flow, and oh, I guess you can't really see that. This dial right there, that adjusts the flow. So I'll tighten it all the way and then open it maybe 1 turn, and we'll adjust it from there based on the mood of the engine. So I think it's time to try it out. So there's no water in the hopper, no oil in the dripper, but that's fine because we're not going to be running it very long. Wrench, and just give a little shot of gas into the cylinder, and then the rest into the there you go, into the priming bowl, the carb. Okay. I'm not going to use the crank on this one because I'm not familiar with it yet. Don't know if it's going to kick or how bad it's going to kick. Just going to pull the wheels. So I'll tighten that all the way and then open it up a little bit. Put the cap on. Let's see. Holy. Have an act. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little video. She fired up much more easily than expected. It has lots of the original paint on it, so I'm not going to bother restoring, repainting this one. It is going to get some of that oil, lanolin oil coat, and that'll bring out the original color and it'll prevent it from rusting anymore. Maybe take steel wool to the exposed, somewhat rusty surfaces. Clean the oil, get some water in it. Figure out some sort of a muffler, because I don't like the idea of this thing here. It's just an invitation for mice. But after running it for a little while, it gained wicked compression. I don't think I can even turn it over with the crank handle and try like this. Wow, it pulls me. Okay. Amazing compression now, so that's great news. No ring job required, and I didn't hear much knocking, but without setting the carburetor and having it fixed to the ground, it's kind of hard to tell. So anyway, stay tuned. Next time there's some tinkering with Model A Fords, line shaft equipment, lots of cast iron, flat belt goods. So till then, have a good one.